Hey guys, so today's topic is future proofing your business, especially in the disability sector. So here we are in 2025 and there are so many changes going on and there are so many more coming. Once we have the election and that's all sorted, I'm sure that there's going to be new announcements and new changes. We still don't really know much about the navigator role. We still don't know a lot about anything much, but we do know that things are constantly changing in the NDIS sector. And one of the biggest things we want to talk about is how you can ensure that your business will stay and will continue to grow, but also be sustainable for you for now and for the future. So one of the biggest things that people talk about is growth. So got to grow the business, got to get more clients. And one of the things I see on Facebook all the time is, oh, we're a new registered NDIS business and how do we get clients? And I really don't like the wording of that. I understand what they're saying, but one of the biggest things is they're people. So the big difference that I want to talk to, and if you watched my shorter version, shorter video, I'm doing this in a slightly different order just because I know we can do longer. But one of the things that I want to talk about is the language that we use when we're marketing or making people aware of our services. So to get something means like it's more like an object. When we're talking about people, we're wanting to attract the audience. So you want to get the sale or the engagement, but you want to attract the person to then engage them into your services. And so if we keep the language right, it actually helps the mindset. And for some people, that can be a little bit of a different thing because, if you want an object, then you get the object. But if it's a person, you can't get that person unless you physically go and grab them. So there's that to think about. Growing your business is really good and it's something that you will go through phases of growing it, but you've got to have the strong foundation to grow your business from. I've talked about this in other videos as well. And one of the biggest things around growing your business is my business ready for the growth? Is the foundation strong enough to handle the growth that we're going to have? And am I ready for that growth as the business owner? Do I have the right team in place to handle the growth? So you can be attracting all the right people, but do you have the people to be able to deliver the service or ready to go? Your marketing should help you to attract the right people, and there's a lot to be said around brand awareness, because brand awareness helps you to have a really clear branding of your business, and then people know, oh, that's what they do. Okay, yes, and they are right for me, or no, they're not right for me. So those kind of things are really key. One of the other things that we talk about is the leadership within your business if it's a company. But if you're a sole trader, you still want to think about there's going to be times when you're going to work on your business and there's going to be time when you're going to work in your business. And for your business growth, do you want to just keep getting referrals in and then you become overwhelmed and, time management starts to go out the window, you're now overwhelmed again, then you've got all these other things going on while you're getting all these referrals because your systems and your foundations aren't right. That goes for a sole trader as well as a company, because when you focus just on growth and you get all these referrals in, one of the things that will turn people off your business, which will then eventually stop the growth of your business, is if you can't handle the number of inquiries that you've got in a positive way. So I have experienced this in multiple occasions on ringing providers. Hi, it's Jackie. Yeah, look, what is it you want? I haven't got time for this call. I've got a bit of an emergency. Okay, so now's not a really good time. No, it's not. Okay, so when would be a good time? Look, I don't know. What is it that you wanted? Well, I just want to talk about your services. Yeah, look, I haven't got time for that. Okay, well, I'm not going to ring that person back. Often they would ring me back when they were ready, and I'd say, hi, it's Jackie, and they'd say, hi, Jackie, you called me the other day. Oh, look, I was a little bit busy. And I went, yes. Okay, so I just wanted to tell you all about my services. I said, actually, now's not a really good time for me. Do you mind if I ring you back in like half an hour? I thought you were someone else and I answered the phone. So sorry about that. No, I'm going to tell you all about my services now. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I can't listen now. Or I get the aggressive message of, you rang me the other day wanting to know about our services. Here it is. I'm not wanting to engage with those people. So the way that you answer your phone, the way you speak to people or speak with people, the way you communicate about your business is really important. And also know that you are representing your business, even as a sole trader, in everything that you do. Everything that you do. So if you're a company and you're hiring staff, you're going to have a good HR policy set up. You're going to have access to HR. So you know that if you need to performance manage somebody out, then how to do it. You're going to have policies on dress code, on behavior, on the internet and things like that. And one of the things that a lot of people think is being an employee of a company, when I'm on company hours, I have to behave a certain way. When I'm off in my own time, I can do whatever I want and I can put whatever I want on the internet. But remember that when you do that, you could be seen as representing the company, even though you're technically not. So if you do a video that shows you behaving in a certain inappropriate manner, that can reflect upon your business. That can show that your business may not be the right fit. Now, we all know that people have their downtime and people have time where they get drunk and they party and they have all these fun things and all of that, but some of these things shouldn't go on the internet. So even as a sole trader, think about how you're representing yourself and your business all the time, because people are always watching. I know this in personal experience. I was on the front cover of a couple of magazines and people still recognize me even today. I have been on TV and people have still recognized me even, 5-6 years on, they still recognize me. They sort of looking at, is that you? Because my hair color might be different or a bit longer or something like that. But they generally go, oh, that's you. Or they hear me speak, so they recognize my voice. They come up, they ask me about my books, they ask me about things. So people will always remember you. So how you portray yourself on social media says a lot about yourself as well. Now, I am autistic, so sometimes when I write something, I come across as very blunt and very hard. And a huge part of that is because it's like, oh, you answered the question, so it's black and white to me. I forget to inject the emotion into it. I do try to work on that. Sometimes because of my dyslexia, my spelling isn't the best. And I haven't used my spell check app, or the app hasn't worked properly. So when we're talking about our business, people are always watching us and they're ready to pounce on the mistakes that we make. So how are you showing up? And when you're wanting to grow your business, is your business ready to handle the influx of referrals? So if I was to send you 20 referrals over the next 2 weeks, would your business be able to handle that? So having your policies, your procedures, and your strong foundation is really important for ensuring that your business is ready to go. A lot of businesses do close on a regular basis in the disability sector. So there is opportunity to pick up some extra referrals. Then you move into a sustainability part. Now, I have spoken with consultants outside of the NDIS that are starting to want to move into the sector to help businesses grow, become profitable. And I kind of laugh when I hear that. Because one of the big things is, if you've been in NDIS for some time, and I come back to the mathematical equations of the business. So let's do a quick math. If you watch the short version, you know that I did do a quick math in there as well. When we're talking about, so a lot of consultants that are outside of the NDIS, or business coaches outside of NDIS, talk about, so the basic foundations of running a business are identical. It doesn't matter what the service is, what the business is. It's basic foundational stuff that applies to all businesses, and your work health and safety and all of that. So when we're talking about making a profit, a lot of these consultants come in and say, right, well, let's talk about how we can make a profit, because all businesses want to make a profit. Who doesn't? Who's in business and doesn't want to make a profit? The level of profit or the height of profit will determine on your goal of your quality of lifestyle that you want to have. So some people want to have a really luxurious lifestyle, and some people are happy with, as long as my basic needs are met, I'm all good. Somewhere in between. So when we talk about the NDIS and then when we talk about profit margins, a lot of consultants who have worked in other industries will say, well, right, for your service, for you to make a profit on your item or your service, it should be 3 times the amount that you're going to be paying yourself or your staff, right? So that's meant to be how it's determined, the costing. So if you're paying your staff $50 an hour, including super, for example, then you want to be able to charge for your service $150. And that extra $100 is to cover work cover, any apps that are used, the laptop or the phone or the internet. The executive team and the rostering team and the admin team all have to be paid as well. So that's all got to come out of all of that money, that $100 an hour. Now you might think $100 an hour more is a lot of money for the business, but remember that's only paying for stuff. Then there's on top of that the profit margin, so the cream on the top, so to speak, that is now and we've got to pay taxes as well along the way. So there's a lot in that business infrastructure that a lot of people, especially sole traders, don't factor in properly. So when pricing your services, it's really important to understand, okay, so this is what I've got to pay out, and look at the big picture of everything that's got to be paid out. And then what's left over is the potential profit of the business, which you may still have to pay tax on depending on your business infrastructure, like whether you're a company or a sole trader, right? Different things. So if we look at the NDIS, and I was talking to a few consultants and I said to them, do you kind of understand how the NDIS pricing works? And they said, yeah, there's a pricing arrangement and there's a price in there that's $67 an hour. And I said, yes, that's the maximum that NDIS will pay. Right? And they didn't see, at this point, the dots haven't connected. And they said, so if we're wanting to pay our staff $50, that includes super, we would need to be charging the person for the services $150 an hour. And I started to laugh and I went, yeah, good luck with that. I said, what do you mean? And I said, well, NDIS will, you're wanting to charge $150 an hour. NDIS will only pay $67 an hour. So, you could be looking at like $80 odd out of pocket that the participant has to pay. Yes, they could pay that. Yeah, most of them are on a disability pension. So that's their only source of money to pay their rent and have food and their electricity. Like, it's pretty minimal. Right? And I said, okay, so can we keep doing math? And they said, sure. And I said, so if you're, say, let's pretend that they have to pay $80 more out of pocket to get your $150 per hour. So you invoice it in NDIS, they pay the $67. And I said, now you're going to ask this person to pay another $80 per hour out of pocket. What if they have 20 hours of support a week, even 10 hours support a week? By my calculations, 10 by 80 is $800 in one week. What if their support hours are 24/7? And there's a difference of $80 an hour. I'm starting to get a little bit concerned of how much money that really is. And I said, well, what I'm saying is that if someone's living on a disability pension, they're going to be lucky to pay for even $100, just 1 hour extra, like just for 1 hour. If it's, they're going to be lucky to pay $80 just for 1 hour's worth of service. In fact, most of them like to negotiate under the $67 an hour. They said, so how do businesses make money? And I said, that's my point. A lot of them, if they're making a lot of money, I have to question how they're doing it, because if you're invoicing somebody and showing up for the services and you're getting paid $67 and then you pay your staff $50 an hour, then the company technically only has $17 left to cover the work cover, the app, the business insurance, the business tax, maybe admin team. So depending on the size of the business will depend on the money that's there. So they need a lot of work. They need to be servicing a lot of people to make that money. So this is where it's really clear that you understand for your business's success, for future-proofing your business, it's really important that you understand your cost model of what it's costing you to run your business and what you do require to earn into the business to be able to pay wages, whether it's your own, to pay taxes and super and everything else. How much do you need to keep the business going? And this is what's really important in everything that you do. For example, when I bring out something in my business, I sit down, okay, so let's take our t-shirts in Jackie G Apparel. I factor in how much it's going to cost to have that t-shirt and the printing done and everything, and then the delivery back to me or the delivery to the person. So when I place the order, I might be charged $40 and then postage is on top of that, delivery is on top of that. And so for me to even make $5, I have to charge, like for me to make a $5 profit, I might have to charge $10 because then there's fees with PayPal or Stripe or however the money has come in. So those bank transfers, there's fees. Then there's tax on that as well. So there's GST on trying to get to a $5 profit. Could cost $10 because of GST, everything else that goes with it, the fees that get taken out for every order, all of those kind of things. That's why a t-shirt might cost $50 because to have it, and that could just be the cheapest t-shirt. So when we're talking about profit margins and how it all works, all these things are really important to factor in. And the NDIS doesn't make it easy to make a huge amount of profit, despite what a lot of people think. Now, being flexible in your business as well and having some innovation in your business is really important, and really networking properly, like those positive conversations. Having brand awareness, so having a brand that people recognize, as I've talked to before, so that people understand who you are and what you do. I know that with my business at the moment, it is evolving. So, where I've done a lot of work in events with businesses just in disability, I've started getting, interest from other businesses, and then personal development as well. And the health and well-being and neurodiversity. So my business is evolving in understanding neurodiversity even more in the workplace. My business is also evolving in the sense of the way I'm bringing out some of the tools that I use, such as personality assessment tools, things like that help the business stand out a bit more. You're, as a business owner, going to say, well, my business is unique and my business is different to everybody else's, and of course I'm going to succeed. It's great to have dreams and goals and that, but at the end of the day, the internals of how to run a business are identical. Everything is identical, and you can actually have this strategy that applies to all businesses. The point of difference comes with your service delivery. The point of difference comes with your personality, so the personality of your team and the personality of your business. The point of difference comes with your communication style, and the even a little bit of which falls into personality, of the type of people that you want to work with. So we can have 10 NDIS businesses that are offering the same thing, and their infrastructure should be identical, but it's how they deliver their services and how they engage with people and their personality and what they're passionate about. That's the point of difference. That's the uniqueness. So when you come to working with a business coach or a business consultant, choose carefully that they understand those points of differences. We can take you through a business personality assessment tool, and it's one of the most empowering changing things that you can do. And we have a personal personality assessment tool as well, which is a bit more in depth than Myers-Briggs. Now, the reason I share these things is because the NDIS market is saturated. There is not a need for another business to sign up and start up today. There is no need for any more businesses to start up. There is not even enough work for a lot of the established businesses to keep going, which is why it's really important right now at this moment in time to stop and look at your business. What are you doing time management wise? When was the last time you reviewed your financial plan? When was the last time you visited your business plan? When was the last time you reviewed your policies and procedures? Are you constantly pushing for growth, when really you might need to take a step back and say, okay, so this is where we're at? Outside of tax time, when was the last time you really looked at where you're at now and your future plans for your business? Because NDIS is going to keep changing. We are seeing plan funding cuts all the time. We are seeing people's access revoked, so they've graduated from the NDIS and they're now out in the community. We've seen the start of foundational supports come with the hub that's been set up to help people. There's more further conversations around the navigator role. So if you're a support coordinator, do you have a future in the NDIS? And what might that look like if you don't? Future proofing your business so it can be sustainable needs to come from purpose. Why did I start this business in the first place? What was my goal? Was it to get rich? You might think of another business. Was it because I really care about providing quality service to people so that they can be the best that they can be? Oh, yeah, okay. And how much do I require for the lifestyle that I choose for myself? Which then determines how many people you require to keep your doors open. What do I do if there's an emergency? What do I do if the person no longer has NDIS? What is my contingency plan? Am I willing to engage in paid coaching services to stay on track and keep my business going? Am I willing to engage in paying for professional development and doing short courses so I can stay up to date? Am I willing to take the time to read the newsletter that comes out that tells us of the changes that are happening in the NDIS? What is it that you're willing to do to take care of you and your business for the long term? Because right now, the market is saturated. Right now, there are technically a lot of participants who actually don't need a new provider. And then they need a different provider when they found that their provider isn't providing the services they want. So right now, the market is saturated and there is a lot of providers that are amazing and doing great jobs. And you're competing against them all the time. So what is your strategy for your business to be thought of? What are people saying about your business? One of the things with my business is that I'm about empowering you. So I'm going to give you a little booklet. I'm going to give you a course. I'm going to give you whatever it is. Go do it yourself. And then if you need my help, come and we'll do some coaching together. I want to empower you to take control. I don't want to do it for you, because me doing it for you, you're not going to learn. But I want to do it with you, and I want to encourage you to be as independent in your business as possible. And sure, come and ask me questions, and depending on the question, book a coaching session. Sign up for 6 months of coaching and have access to me for 6 months. 3 months. Use my books, my tools, my resources. Watch my videos. It's all built for your independence. And then when you really need the support, you can come back and you go, I've just got this question for you. Is that okay? Sure. But my time is money as well. So, obviously I'm not going to sit and answer all your questions, 3 hours worth of questions for free, because I run a business. Have healthy boundaries in your business. Me saying just now that my time is money is important that you see it. It's not narcissistic, it's not egotistic, it's none of that. It's actually a business healthy boundary. One of the biggest mistakes I made in my business was I would answer questions in groups on social media. And I'd start answering questions and give an answer because at one point I would say, here's this, if you've got more questions, book a introduction call, then we would work in together. And that would then eventually lead to a paid service, so to speak. But one of the biggest things is that in the groups, they started saying that you couldn't share that link to book a call. So you weren't allowed to be advertising your business. So then what it became is then so you'd answer part of the question, the person would have more questions, so they'd inbox you, or they'd ask you for a link, in which case you had to say, can't share the link here, can you inbox me? Which then became, we're now drawing out that actual connection to helping that person succeed. So one of the things is that depending on where on social media it is or how somebody engages, is sure, it's good to have a first conversation to see if you're a match to work together. But please, as a business owner, don't expect to keep going back to that person for free stuff all the time, because they are running a business. Their time is precious, not just their work time, but their family time, their self-care time. So as a business owner, set healthy professional boundaries and also be prepared to invest in your business for its long-term sustainability. Now, where the NDIS is going and will you all have jobs and keep running your business in the future, that remains to be seen. We're seeing a lot of SIL providers struggling right now. We're seeing support coordinators struggling right now. A few allied health providers have shared with me they're starting to struggle a little bit as less funding is given. SIL, a lot of people were 1-to-1, now they're 1-to-3, so SIL providers are going, okay, so we're paying one staff member to look after 3 people, whereas before, that's only like $17 an hour that we're making, whereas before we were making, maybe $40 an hour. How's this going to work? Because they can only invoice each person 1/3. So it's 1 hourly rate for 3 people versus 1 hourly rate for 1 person. It's impacting their business profit lines and their business sustainability. So what is it that you would like to achieve in running a disability business, and how close are you to achieving that? We don't know whether they're going to eventually mandate everybody or not. They originally said that, then they've kind of stepped back a bit from that. Then they've talked about mandatory registration for SIL, support coordination, platform providers and self-directed participants. There's still the conversation going around about the navigator. So what does that mean for support coordinators? There's a lot. They're going to bring out new plans structure. So the framework for plans is going to be very different. So where now a person will have access to, say, $100,000, right now, eventually that might look like 25,000, so broken into quarters over the period of the plan. They might choose to state more items, so you can only use this funding for this, like this amount of funding for this particular service. Lots of different changes coming. So is your business ready for these changes, and are you staying up to date with these changes? Now, we have resources available to help you manage your time. We have resources to have a sustainable business. We have resources around risk management, incident management, and that basic business foundation. One of the things that I'm working on right now that I'm soon to release, and it might even be out by the time you watch this video, I'm not sure of when you watch this video, but we will update the description so that we'll have the link in the description at some point, is a basic from start to finish, like from start to the future for your NDIS business. And then we'll have another one just for general businesses, because we wanted to insert some of the intricacies of NDIS into it. And that will include, your setup, your Just basically everything to think about when running this business. We've already got Build a Successful Disability book, so we'll include that in the little bundle, and we're going to include in that little package for you. So that little bundle, we will be including things that you can listen to, that you can download to use as checklists, things like that, so you can actually work through it and set your business up properly. Use it as a revision tool for your business. Look at your time management. Look at your documents, policies, and procedures. So we'll include a discount to those if you, just in case, because we're not going to assume you don't have them. And there's a lot more in that to help you have a sustainable business that's likely to be here in the future if you just take through a few steps and have that business awareness and that business sense. Running a business is more than just getting an ABN and business insurance and having a service agreement. It's so much more, and especially when you're dealing with vulnerable people, you're providing a service to people. I would say it's a little easier to sell a product in the sense of you've just got to produce the product. You don't have to worry about emotions and any of that type of thing. So when you are working in a service delivery, you've got to take on a lot of things. And this is just the beginning. So this video is just the beginning. It's just a guide. But, you know, having that blueprint to the future of a sustainable business in the disability sector is something that is now called for, having that revision to go through that. There's a lot of amazing people in this business that really understand it and know it. There's other people that just wing it and they think, yeah, I can just tell you anything and you're going to believe me. I tend to like to back things up. So, and one of the biggest things I do know around NDIS registration is that they do want you, the business owner, to complete the application questions yourself. You can sit there with the consultant or a coach and they can help you with it, but you should be answering those questions yourself. You should know your policies and procedures. So even if you've got someone to develop them for you, read them and make sure they represent your business, because 9 times out of 10 we find they don't. That's why we've kept our templates at a reasonable cost, because you're going to go through them. And this is all part of future-proofing your business for the long term, because when you know your business inside out, there's no ahs, or anything like that. When it comes to marketing your business and growing your business, there's no, yeah, we do this. There's none of that. Yeah, we do coaching. No, I don't do that for you. I will work with you, but I won't do it for you. Oh, no, I wanted someone that was going to do it for me. And applications are starting to be rejected because the business has basically paid a consultant to do it all for them, and they don't know anything. They don't know what their answers were. They don't know the self-assessment. They don't know their policies and procedures. They just have paid somebody, you just do it all for me and give it to me. And then they start running a business and they've got no concept of what they're doing. This is why I'm bringing out this little bundle and the book that helps you. And then my other book that you might want to keep an eye out for is Break Free Pathway, Success Pathway. And that has got a lot more tools and strategies in it as well. That's personal and business transformation. So it's super cool. And I've got to work with a lot of different people that have had some input in me developing my tools over the years and my strategies. And then we're just bringing it all together to make it easier for you. So think about time management. Think about your branding of your business personality. Think about your financial planning, your business planning. Think about what it is that you do, how you do it, and what makes you stand out above everybody else. Constantly keep an eye on the NDIS and all the changes that are going on, and how does this impact? Ask yourself, if the what if question, if they do this, what will I do? Why did I get into this business? What is my purpose, my why around why I've started this and why I'm doing this? Strongly encourage you to do all of this. So I hope this video has helped you. Keep an eye out and just read the description for the links. We might even put the links in the comments as well so you can see it, and keep an eye out for some of the books that we're bringing out as well. So all here to empower you listen on the go. A lot of our stuff we do, you might get access to a video. I say that in inverted commas because it's more of an audio with just a couple of images, but it's not about watching. It's so you can listen to it on the go because we know you're busy. All right, you've got this. You really, really do.